different tactics into the era. Same way as that the people that taught before us were taught a different curriculum. And we are taught a different curriculum, meaning their teaching strategies and our teaching strategies will never be the same.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you very much. I think comrades who spoke are all correct. The CEO of SAIC yesterday spoke about learning and learning, says learning, unlearning, and relearning. So they must realize that the problem is psychological. I think the comrade who spoke about mentality, and I think even the president, when he spoke here yesterday, he spoke about the mindset and the capacity or the ability to be able to realize certain things. So psychologically, the young guy was not ready to unlearn certain things in order for him to face the battles that are coming. So they must realize that who told you that you can't pour water on a bucket full of water? And that is why even the comrades at the back there was correct. So it means in order for us to do certain things, there are certain things that we need to unlearn. Radical knowledge can't coexist with conservative ideas. So you need to unlearn certain things in order for revolutionary ideas to become part and parcel of what we want it to be. Now the point I just want to get across, comrades, is that as young educators, we have a responsibility to challenge the dominant regime of knowledge. We can't be perpetuators, or we can't be carriers of prejudices that are embedded in our own education system. The first thing that we need to do is to check the foundational assumptions that influence our knowledge system. And by so doing, possess or wield that capacity to undermine such things. And this is owing to our history of apartheid, this is owing to our history of colonialism, and this is owing to our history where the patriarchal system is still dominant. So these are some of the things that we need to be aware of as young educators, that in our own teaching processes, our pedagogical approaches should reflect our aspirations for a society that has to be free, but also, and most importantly, a society that, if not for us, then for our kids. The other point I want to talk to comrades is that, and it's a bit controversial, and but I will live with it. The reality of the matter is that our movement has political power. Our movement has political power. Now, political power, if it is not used on behalf of the people, it becomes something else. And this is why I always wonder, when they go to China, what do they learn? Because in China, the Chinese Communist Party is able to say, you cross the party line or you cross our national development mandate, we chop you. It's very clear in China. So we cannot run away from the fact that we have political power. For example, we have the power to decide on the prices of basic commodities. We remember during COVID, you know, the prices of garlic went high. Where is the political power to discipline capital on behalf of people? That is what we need to talk about. The very idea or the very conception, Bonga, of National Democratic Revolution in the conception from the MDM was that revolutionary forces are going to take the state. They are going to transform the state to transform society. That is the conception, the simplest conception of the NDR. Now, if that was the case, where are we now? Were we able to transform society, the state, to transform society? And are we able to use the very political power we have to discipline capital and to realize the goals of the National Democratic Revolution? So those are some of the things that in our own spaces we need to talk about. We cannot behave as if we don't have political power. And we cannot act as if it's capital which voted for the leadership that we have. It's people who voted for the leadership that we have. And if it is unable to use the political power on behalf of people, the question we must pose is, what is it using the political power for? And I want to come to the practical case that involves workers. Are you aware that, are we aware that PIC, manager, we know PIC. it's used to be, that money of workers is used to build malls. So if we as young educators, we as young workers are able to stake our political claims and assert our capacity to be able to redirect the national democratic revolution, we are going to be able to play an important role in shaping both the imagination of young ones, as we are going to be teaching them, but also shaping the future of this country. These are some of the things that we are talking about. And also, comrades, we cannot have a leadership that has shares in companies that exploit our parents, our aunts, our uncles, and our sisters. So if we have goals of transforming society, but the very power structure that refuses to transform society, which is actually controlled by big companies, then we are going to be having a problem, because those people who are shareholders in those companies are only going to be focused on dividends, not development. And this is the case in our country. So these are so we must not beat about the bush, in as much as we are in the movement, in as much as we want, the movement to continue exercising its hegemony on society. There are certain things that we must talk about, because if we don't talk about, we are then going to be complicit in what is happening in the country and in what is not going to be able to allow us to achieve the goals of transformation and national development. So here and wherever we are as activists, we must make it very clear that no leader of the national democratic movement must be a shareholder in any company if they are actually committed to national development and transformation. Lastly, comrades, I think Comrade President spoke about it, and the GS, about professional conduct, the way we conduct ourselves in our field of work, even in our activist spaces. There are professional bodies in the country. I'm not going to talk about a professional body that concerns you, which was here yesterday. But there is a growing crisis of professional bodies that are gatekeeping and not allowing young ones, especially black and women, to practice their professions. Professional bodies, not all of them are elephants in the room as far as the absorption of young people in the labor market is concerned. And I will make a practical example. In my research work, you find people working at SPARE, but they had done pharmacy. You find people who are, volunteers at local libraries, but they had done they have done engineering. You find young ones who have done, let's say quantity surveying, but they are part of the expanded works publics program. So beyond your professional body as activists, we must raise things that will also change the lives of young people, those who are outside even of our own sector of participation. So these are some of the things that we need to be able to talk about and be seen to be doing something not only for us, but for any other young person who is part of this country. In conclusion, comrades, as young educators, we must refuse to become the transmitters of prejudices in what we teach. We must pose a question: who produces what we teach? Who produces what we teach? Because we cannot only receive knowledge or information and then we just teach it as it is. We must be able to influence and be in charge of the process of knowledge production. So that whatever we talk about, and we are going to talk about in commissions, in the plenary, is going to be realized and be seen to be something that has been taken into consideration on a serious note. So I just want to congratulate you for convening this national Imbizo. It's inaugural national Imbizo, and also to thank Umtimkulu Notolani for having involved some of you here.
Comrades, could you please assist us with a revolutionary song?
Let them to sing up until they are united. I don't know what's happening. The spirit is dying. Don't worry about the conduct of the we know it's something that is from the past and we know it's from the past. We feel that it's from the right hand.